Will Goldstein here, thekingscourt.com. There's always a chance to subscribe down there by hitting that button. Again, I'm a musician, so that's usually what I do. This I kind of do in my spare time, but I'm always releasing songbooks. I'm going to release another songbook either by the end of this year or early next year. It's another 91 song based on the Book of Proverbs by Solomon. You can always listen to my music. The King's Court is the artist name. It's on Pandora, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, and pretty much all the rest. Again, there's a chance to subscribe down there. I do these videos in my spare time as a ministry. This is from C.S. Lewis's book, Screwtape Letters. And this one is video 10. He doesn't name them, so I'm giving a name to it to identify it and separate it from all the rest. So this one I'm entitling Bad Company, because that's definitely the theme of this, this video. It starts off with the demon Screwtape addressing his nephew, Wormwood, who's responsible for this young man. Wormwood, I was delighted to hear that your patient has made some desirable new acquaintances. This is really promising. This middle-aged married couple are just the sort of people we want him to know. Rich, smart, superficial intellectuals, skeptical about everything in the world. Even pacifists, but not on moral grounds, but from a dash of communism. Make good use of all his social, sexual, and intellectual vanity. Tell me, did he commit himself? There is a subtle play of looks, tones, and laughs which imply his are the same party as those to whom he is speaking. This is the kind of betrayal you should encourage. The man does not realize it. By the time he does, it will be difficult to withdraw. In other words, he's being tricked and deceived, but at this point at least he doesn't know it. He will soon realize it, though. His own faith is in direct opposition to the assumptions this conversation is based upon. Persuade him to postpone acknowledgement of this fact. Shame, pride, modesty, and vanity will do. As he will be in false position, he will be silent when he ought to speak and laugh when he ought to be silent. He will start to assume by his words cynical, skeptical attitudes that are not really his. He got them from his friends, of course. Mortals tend to turn into what they are pretending to be. Prepare for the enemy's counterattack. Of course, the enemy in this is God, since these are demons speaking. Delay as long as possible the moment he realizes this pleasure as temptation. The enemy's servants have been preaching about the world, a great temptation, for 2,000 years. In modern Christian writings, I see much about mammon. I see few of the old warnings about worldly vanities, choice of friends, value of time. Your patient classifies these as Puritanism. The value we have given to the word shows solid triumphs of the last 100 years or so. By it we rescue thousands from temperance, chastity, and sobriety of life. The real nature of his new friends must become clear to him, and tactics depend on his intelligence. If he is a fool, he may realize the character of his friends only while they are absent, but their presence sweeps away all criticism. Many humans live two parallel lives. He will actually be a different man in each of the circles he frequents. He can be made to take pleasure in that the two sides of his life are inconsistent, exploiting his vanity. Let him kneel beside the grocer on Sunday. Others could not possibly understand the world he inhabited on Saturday night. He may enjoy the blasphemy over the coffee with these admirable friends. You see the idea. Worldly friends touch him on one side, the grocer on the other. He is able to see around them all. While being treacherous, he will not feel shame, but self-satisfaction. Persuade him in defiance of conscience to continue the new acquaintance. Do these people good by drinking their cocktails and laughing at their jokes. To cease to do so would be priggish, intolerant, and definitely puritanical. Induce him to spend more time than he can afford and to neglect his work and his mother. Her jealousy and his evasiveness, rudeness will aggravate domestic tension. So you can see the obvious in this, that Screwtape is telling Wormwood to give this advice, and you can see all the dimensions that he mentions about the types of friends that he has. And he used a lot of different words, At the beginning he mentioned superficial, rich, smart, intellectuals, skeptical about everything in the world. Of course, they wouldn't be interested in things Christian because that's too old school, and we've gotten all rid of that sort of thing. And they tend towards communism. He brought in the word communism. And notice that as he spends time with these people, he's becoming more and more like them. So the people that you associate with, if those are the people that you associate with, then eventually you will let go of your morals. You will laugh at their jokes. You'll laugh at their blasphemy. You'll sort of just become just like them. So the things that go through your mind, the thoughts that you have, things that you listen to, definitely mold the character that you are developing into. It's sort of a very deceptive way of doing things because it's just sort of like a frog in warm water. You get warm up the water and it gets hotter and hotter. The frog doesn't jump out, it just fries. Okay, that's the idea. Get him into these people and then gradually he'll move away from his faith. And that's what they're basically encouraging him to do, and to participate in all the worldly vanities, how he spends his time, and to start to have attitudes towards moral character as puritanical and basically nonsense. To not criticize these people, these new friends, and to accept their criticism. And this is the whole idea that he's getting into. And to exploit his vanity. True Christianity has always got a humble nature to it. To think of these friends as admirable friends that he shares coffee with and, again, laughs at their jokes and their blasphemy, while at the same time going to church and shaking hands with the grocer that's at church. They couldn't possibly understand what he was doing the night before on Saturday night. And then the whole thing concerning his conscience, to bring him to a state where his conscience is diminished and he doesn't really have much of a conscience, so that anything becomes acceptable. Then, of course, bring that home to his mother and his relationship with her, and how she is now sees what's happening with him, and she's jealous and alarmed, and he's evasive and rude, and there's domestic tension at home and aggravation. You can see the whole thing is based on one thing: bad company. The people you associate with will eventually become just like them.